We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather, the Turrbal people of Yuggera land, as well as the Woiwurrung people of the Wurundjeri land. We recognise their continued connection to the land and waters of this beautiful place and acknowledge that they never ceded sovereignty. We respect all Turrbal and Woiwurrung elders and ancestors and any First Nations people here today.
Good evening. You are on the new Blurt. You've got the Kegsta here, and I'm coming to you from the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation, and I respect their elders past and present. Thank you very much for joining us on the podcast, or if you're live, hello. You might not know that we're going to be coming to you this sort of time on a Thursday, but some things have changed a little, and I've been across the Dutch, as it were, in New Zealand, and I am now back, and we thought it might be a bit easier to do the segments. So I hope you're with us, and if you're not, hello to you on the potty. Tonight we are going to have, as I said before, across the Dutch, a few little things and tidbits to talk about when I was there, and just a couple of articles coming out of the country, and I know that Wencee's got some stuff on that as well. Tonight we'll also have Nature Calls. Nature Calls is, and Nature segment, if you like. And one of the ones that I'm going to talk about tonight is with limited conservation efforts, we could save at least 47 Australian animals from extinction. So if it's limited, we should do it, because that's like at the least point of action for us. We can actually do that, so we should definitely be doing that as a priority, I would have thought. So we'll discuss that in Nature Calls. And Chinese takeaway, I will be discussing, and the reason I'm discussing is basically I read an article just recently regarding so many of the young Chinese people in particular have been really rebelling against the Chinese leaders over there at the moment, because of the fact they've been locked up for the last 2 months. If you have been following the COVID situation. And so anyway, we'll discuss a little bit of what's been going on over there and what the Chinese students have been thinking about it all. Also, the other thing we will discuss, and we'll discuss it in the banter tonight, is it's National Reconciliation Week. It finishes next week. And the message this year is to be brave and make change. If you look very closely, you may see a background of that on the show. The new government's already promised to take the Uluru statement from the heart to the parliament and work with the parties to get a successful outcome for a referendum. As you may or may not know, the only way that we can get a voice into the Constitution is it has to be a referendum, which basically means there needs to be some information that is sent to every person in Australia, and they say whether or not they want to see this go into a referendum. Or I don't know if they'll do it anything different to that. That's what they did with safe-sex marriage, and we know that that was a success, although it should have never had to go to a referendum in my humble opinion, and I don't think this should either. But anyway, the way that you change things in the country, in most countries, if you want them to stay, is by constitution, because it's very hard to get those laws out when they have been changed. Whereas if you just make legislation, the next government gets in, they change the legislation, and then the people that might have been in that legislation will be directly affected. In this case, it will be our First Nations people, and that is just not good enough. So there you go. That is what we're talking about tonight. And so now I think it's probably time for on with the show.
I can't take it anymore.
Good afternoon, good evening, good day, and good morning, Blurtsters, wherever you are around the world. You are listening to the Blurt.
Absolutely listening to the new Blurt. Good evening, Wencee.
Hello. Before I start, I want to acknowledge that I'm recording.
Settle down.
Yeah, settle down. Before I start, I want to acknowledge that I'm recording this live from Yuggera and Turrbal people here in Brisbane. So, so we're on their traditional lands. How are you, mate?
I'm very good. I'm a little bit haggard, but I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good.
Yes. Yes, so you only got back to freezing cold Melbourne early this morning, I believe.
Yeah,
Or
it
sometime
was
this
a
morning.
little bit cooler than I had just been experiencing, to be honest. I've been getting quite wet in Wellington, in Wandy, Wellington. No, I've been getting quite wet there. It's been raining the last day or so, but still, it's been lovely the other days. It's been really nice. And Christchurch was beautiful every day. And even when we came back, the day before we came back, they had torrential rain. But the day when we actually came back, it was 21 degrees. It was,
Wow.
really warm.
Nice.
It was very warm. So it's quite funny stepping off the plane this morning and going into sort of the plane tunnel bit that you walk off and then walk into the. That was freezing. I was like, gee whiz, this is cold. I wasn't. But I had my thick jacket ready and all the rest of it, so it was all good. It's all good.
Lucky you. Yeah.
Yes.
That's good. Welcome back to Melbourne and
Yes.
live tonight. Awesome.
Yes, well, absolutely. And as we say at the top of the show, new leaders, old ideas. So, yeah, when I was away, we got a new government, I hear.
Yeah.
I hear so far, so good.
So far, so good. That's right. Change has already happened, as you know, with the we briefly talked about it last week with the Indigenous flags.
Oh,
in
yes.
the press room in that
Yes.
PM Elbow introduced on his very first press conference. We've had the cabinet sworn in this week.
It seems like it's got a bit of class. To what I've seen, the way that, I mean, you got Penny Wong flying around the world trying to actually, sort out all the bloody mess that the other mob made when it comes to any sort of diplomatic relations with the South Pacific and all the rest of it. And she's just, putting all her diplomatic skills to the fore at the moment. And she seems like she's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, so far. And we've got Chalmers, who's our treasurer now. I guess he's showing us the books in a way and how bad it was and what we're expecting in the coming months and years.
Well, he's been quite transparent. I mean, it's obvious it's on the other side. I mean, it has to be. They only just got in. So, so this is on their watch. They just have to clean it up. Yeah, look, it's going to be interesting, but it was particularly interesting to see the new old Dutton leader. It's just like, I don't know. The Liberal Party don't seem to learn. I don't know if they realise they got 58 seats.
Oh, did they get to 58, did they?
Yeah, they got 58.
Wow. Okay.
They got 58. And there's, I think, 16 on the crossbench and 77 to Labor.
And so they lost around 20, didn't they?
Yeah, they lost 19 seats. They lost 19 seats. And apparently they lost something between 7 and 10 to Labor.
Wow. And then a whole bunch to almost as many to the independents.
Yeah. It was about 7 or so to, and I suppose, did they lose? Did Labor lose to the Greens or did Liberal lose to the Greens?
No, Liberal lost to the Greens. Two here in Brisbane, the Brisbane seat, and Ryan, where we are.
So that's pretty cool. You're in Greensland right now.
Oh, the Green Slide in Greensland.
Yes, that's exactly
as
right.
We're famous for now.
Yes, I know. It's pretty cool. What's his name? Dr. Bob Brown would be. I'd imagine he would have had a champagne himself on election night. He must have been pretty happy about that.
Yeah, and crying for the fact that he probably never took it that far himself.
Yeah, for sure. But I think diplomatically, and Adam Bant, the way that he sort of mustered his troops and the way that they conducted themselves in Queensland, I think was probably a much smarter way of doing things. And plus, they came from Queensland. They didn't come into Queensland.
Yeah, like last time, which is where Labor and the Greens lost out a lot. Yeah. You don't want the Mexicans coming up and telling you what to do. So
no. that didn't work very well at all.
No,
I never
no.
thought that was going to be a good idea.
No.
I was right, unfortunately. But yeah, so yeah, it looks like you've just got homegrown people that understand and are caring, etc. I've heard a bit about that so far. But I see old Beetroot Head is out on his ear now, which is good.
Yeah. Still replaced by a smaller dinosaur, not as large as Beetroot was.
Well, that is true. I was listening to a couple of bits of history of Little Pride today, actually, and I was pretty disappointed, actually. At the age that he is, he's vehemently against same-sex marriage, and the electorate that he covers is 43% of Queensland.
Wow, yeah.
And that electorate, the whole electorate, voted no on same-sex marriage last time.
That's amazing. I had no idea about that one.
It is amazing. It is amazing. I was pretty disappointed to hear it. And the other thing is that he does have good sort of green credentials in how he wants to do things.
Okay, well, that's good.
But he won't come to the party to say that the amount of sort of climate change that's happening now and the amount of change in the atmosphere and all the rest of it is man-made.
Right, okay. So he's not a believer, but he wants to do something. Yeah. But probably too slow for anyone.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is that he goes, look, I don't care how it happened or what has happened, but it's happening. And it's like, well, you sort of need to care because then you understand why it's happening, so you can do something about it.
Yeah, so we know where the change has to come from.
Correct. Now, we could talk about this all night.
Yes, we could.
We've got lots of things to talk about, but you've got something else very important to talk about. I riffed slightly on it, started the show, but you've got a bit more information. So
I just wanted to just to briefly talk about National Reconciliation Week. It actually ends tomorrow, 3rd of June, which was when the Australian High Court delivered the Mabo decision back in 1992. And that was the case where the Crown was challenging the terra nullius, where... Got some music there. Who's that? Who is that?
Keep
playing. Okay. It just sounded a bit loud on my side. So that was when we had the legal recognition of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, as they were entitled to be the traditional owners and custodians of this great land, which then paved the way for native titles. So that's been ongoing for 30 years. So tomorrow will be the 30th anniversary. So it's a big milestone.
It is a big milestone, and what we can't forget is how many new Indigenous, and it looks like women mainly, MPs that have come into the Parliament. I think, is there some green Indigenous MPs?
There's two that I believe are in the Greens, Lydia Thorpe in Victoria and Dorinda Cox in WA.
Right.
And we've got a record 10, I think it was, 10 senators and House of Reps who are Indigenous in this Parliament. So that's a record number.
It's pretty cool.
Awesome.
I mean, Linda Burney is the Minister for the Indigenous Affairs and to get the Uluru Statement into the Constitution and organise a referendum. But the other beautiful thing is she'll be working with Patrick Dodson, great Australian. So that is a pretty cool thing, and he will be having a massive say in that as well. So
so let's hope the other half of the Parliament actually cooperates and come to the party and get this through.
My question to that would be, if you've got say 16 or I don't know, say for instance you've got 10, be conservative, you got 10 cross benches that all agree with what Labor want to do. Labor have got the majority anyway, so they don't need the Liberal Party to pass anything, and they've got they'll have the power with the Greens and the crossbenchers in the Senate as well. So Liberal can't stop anything really.
No, but you still want everyone to be on the same side of history and not to make this turn out into some sort of ugly
shit show.
debate. Yeah, so you really want to.
Yeah,
like the same-sex marriage was.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dado reckons that he apologises for missing the apology, which is quite ironic. And maybe his way of doing that, and I say sucking up to Australia, is to show that he's got some sort of human side, and actually, pass that to allow the referendum to go ahead. And I mean, the thing is, right, they've only got 58 seats. There's going to be a hell of a lot of Parliament that want it to happen. So and surely it won't do them any good if they oppose it, and then the next election people are going to remember that, and they'll probably get trounced at the polls again. Yeah, well, I think if they don't sort out their right, I mean, the people that voted for the Teals this time voted for ICAC and changes and climate change and better treatment of refugees, etc., etc. Now they don't seem to be going to change any of their ideas on those things, so I don't understand how they're going to get in again. I'm a little bit confused by it all.
Yeah, but they're not learning, and that's going to be their cross to bear, as they say.
Well, look, far be it from me to say that in any way, shape, or form we would exceed the ability, experience, and know-how of Catherine Murphy. But she was predicting that Morrison would get back in again. She predicted that in 2019 as well.
Oh,
and he did.
Okay.
But she was predicting, and I had predicted on our show, we were going to get a government. I said it'll be slim, but I think it will happen. I said too many Teals will take the seats away. I couldn't see how they could possibly get enough seats if that happened. So I don't know. We had a clue what was happening, and also none of those people spoke to Mark Kelly.
No, exactly. They should have known. They would have put the bets on the right horse if they'd spoken with Mark Kelly. So
he was on the show and he said 6 to 8. He said 6 to 8.
Yeah.
And we're going, well, I hope you're right. That sounds right. And he was 100% right.
Yeah.
So
now let's see what happens over the coming 3 years. I think there'll be positive change. Yeah.
No, I hope so. I hope so too. Look, we're gonna go on with Cross the Dutch now. Did you want to go with your New Zealand bit, or do you want me to go first?
Sure, I can do that if you want.
Go.
First of all, I have a question for you. You probably know this, and I got it completely wrong. What's the capital?
I may not know.
What's the capital of New Zealand?
Oh God, see. I think it's Wellington.
It is, and I always thought it was Auckland because
it's just the biggest town.
The biggest town, yeah. It's like Sydney. People think Sydney's the capital of Australia.
Yeah, but it's Canberra. And what they normally do is they normally have the capital where their government is, and all the government is in Wellington.
Yeah, and not being a Kiwi myself or visited New Zealand.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Something you must eradicate in your life, and definitely 100% do, because it's an unbelievable place.
It is. Oh, look, I do lie. I did go to Auckland for 2 weeks for work many years ago, but I was stuck in Auckland for the 2 weeks, so I wouldn't call that a tour of New Zealand.
No, definitely not. And although I'm not the biggest fan of Auckland per se, it does have some pretty cool bits, but it has some really not so great bits. But having quite a few shootings over there at the moment.
I didn't know that. But.
They got some gang stuff happening, like the Sydney gang stuff and the Melbourne gang stuff, blah blah blah. Yeah. But anyway, up north they've got some really really cool things up there. Cape Reinga is one of the most northern places in the north of the North Island.
Yeah.
And they've got the Bay of Plenty up there as well, which is where you can go and watch whales and dolphins.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool stuff. But the South Island is equally, and maybe for me, even better. It's just got so many awesome things. I don't know if I put the photos up that the blurters could see, but we did a Transalpine trip, and it's just amazing. You go from the East Coast right across to the West Coast of the South Island, and the Alps and all of the mountains, and because basically it's so volcanic. It's just the views that you're seeing are just breathtaking.
Yeah,
really, really awesome. And
I did add a couple of photos in the Substack email that goes out to all of our subscribers, so that they've got a couple of those. But,
well, I definitely hope that people take
they look
the
very
opportunity.
spectacular.
Oh, it is. It's an incredible place. And so what you've got is you've got the South Island. You go up to the north of the South Island, and there's a place up there called Nelson that gets sun nearly 300 days a year.
Oh, wow.
And it's right on the beach, and it's where a lot of people like to retire and sort of live out and last their days in New Zealand. It's a beautiful place. It is a beautiful place.
Yeah, awesome.
And then down south, you're sort of going towards Queenstown. There's Milford Sounds, which is down there, which is just a beautiful area of islands and sort of inlets, and you can sort of take a boat out, and it's really last time I was on it, it was very calm, and it's just everything that you sort of see on both sides. It's just, again, it's breathtaking. So we didn't obviously do all that this time. We did do the Transalpine, but having a partner as a Kiwi, I've been to New Zealand quite a few times, and my sister lives there as well. So years ago, I sort of used to go a bit to see her and things as well. So
nice.
But anyway, yeah.
Yes.
Wellington, yes.
Wellington. So that's the capital. But my segment and my topic this week will be a memorandum of cooperation that was signed between the Californian governor, Gavin Newsom, and Jacinda Ardern, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, who was recently in the US.
Yes.
And she was on talk show hosts with Steve Colbert and others as well. So
we'll make sure we get that interview in the show notes with Steve Colbert.
That was very fascinating. They talked about gun control, amongst other things.
Yeah. He's got a love affair with Jacinda Ardern. He loves Jacinda Ardern.
Who doesn't?
Believe it or not, it's a Julia Gillard complex.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was loved internationally, Julia Gillard. When I was in England, not a bad word was ever spoken about her, how good she was, etc. And then you hear about the horrible things that, Rabbit was doing back here, Budgie Man. And then Jacinda Ardern, like the Labor Party and the National Party at the moment. National Party are polling at 39. Jacinda Ardern, Labor Party, they're polling at 35.
35, right, okay.
So
neck and neck.
Yeah.
They've got a weird political system there, similar, different to ours. Where I think they can have up to 3 parties join a coalition to form government.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, which is really bizarre.
They're pretty used to it. They normally have like a kingmaker party, and they needed one, I think, 2 elections ago. So, but the last one was a landslide, but the next one won't be. So, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. But sorry, keep going.
Yeah. So anyway, we digress. California, being the 5th largest economy in the world, obviously wants to lower its emissions for climate change and things like that. So they've partnered with various countries, and New Zealand's one of them. And so things they're going to focus on things like EVs to get them on the road quickly and transition out the petrol vehicles. Technologies, looking into tech to reduce climate change. So none of this is written in stone where they've got to do this or this by a certain period.
Yeah.
It's really just, all right, we're going to work together, exchange ideas, how we can do farming in a better practice, and then they'll do that across the Pacific together. So they'll be doing things like that. So I thought that was quite interesting that that's come out this week, which is good to hear.
It is interesting. I mean, Gavin Newsom was just newly re-elected. There's the opposition, the Republican over there. I don't know. They have some weird stuff over there. Apparently, you can. I don't know. There's a certain method that you can say that I want there to be a recount or I want there to be an election or something.
Oh, okay.
And I think you have to sort of put out the notice to a whole bunch of voters to say, do you want to have an election, I think, or something along those sort of lines. Yeah. And if he had lost that vote, he then would have had to go up against this nut job. And I mean, he's pretty right wing, the guy that was trying to go against him. Anyway, and he won convincingly, so it wasn't
good.
wasn't
thank goodness for that.
But,
we don't want another Trump running part of America.
We didn't want the first one, but we won't go there. It's not part of the USA. It's across the Dutch.
It's across the Dutch. Well, that's all for me tonight.
All right.
With the Dutch.
Yibbity yibbida. That's all good.
Is that the fisherman? What's his name? Hunt.
Yes, Rex
Hunt. That's right. Ex-footballer in AFL.
But
was it
VFL? No, AFL. Oh, yeah, good question. I think, I reckon it would be VFL. I think you're spot on.
Yeah, for those playing at home. Yeah, it would have been that generation.
Yes, for those playing at home. Very nice. Very nice. So, I came across this article that I thought was quite funny, so I thought I'd read a couple of snippets from it. It's not a massive article, but I think it's beautifully written. So, I thought I'd just share a bit, and I will share it, and it's public, so you can read it without having to subscribe. It's from the stuff.co.nz page in the opinion site. So this guy, who's a writer from Wellington, I think he's a playwright as well. It's quite nicely done. I like the first part of the article. I finally get to use to 20-somethings on the council telling me that my 1965 Wolseley is ruining the planet. I carefully negotiate my way past new cycle lanes full of scruffy hippies on electric-powered bicycles. I refuse to add to the desecration of Her Majesty's language by overusing abbreviations like e-bike. Yet now I learn that the plans are afoot to try and lower the voting age to 16. So I like this. He's just got, have these people been calling for the change ever actually met a 16-year-old? And
how old is this guy?
How old's this guy?
Yeah.
He's pretty old.
Okay.
Our age sort of thing.
Not that old. Not that old.
And he says, nor have I. But if you do meet one, don't go anywhere near their bedroom without a gas mask. And don't ask them to do anything useful, like performing long division or converting millimeters to pints. Chances are they won't be able to, as they'll be too busy designing telephone applications to decarbonize the planet or some such. It's a really good article.
Sounds like a Luddite.
Yeah, no, he's a bit of fun. As I say, it's well written, but I will read just the last little bit of it because it's quite funny. It says, there's also medical evidence that the human brain starts to slow down after 60. He's probably over 60. So a similar argument about brain development could be made to have a maximum voting age. However, such an idea is way too threatening, and my brain hurts when I think about it. So I'd say he's over 60. So I was so concerned about the voting issue that I wrote to my local councillor, and she replied within a couple of days, pointed out 3 factual errors, 2 grammatical ones in my letter, and answered all my questions properly. Not bad for an 18-year-old, but I'm sure she had none of these qualities when she was 17 and 364 days. You must understand that people like me are under attack on all sides, and we feel marginalised. Rather than lowering the voting age, I say we should raise it to 65. And even then, people should only be eligible to vote if they can prove that they not only own property, but listen to the radio talkback for at least 4 hours a day. That way, everyone in Parliament will look and sound like me. Now, that's what I call democracy. But
Really?
I love the sign-off. The sign-off's really good. Yours, fretfully, Giles Fobwatch waistcoat from Churton Park.
Right. Okay.
So it's just a massive piss take, but I think it's a beautiful article. I think it's really well written. It will be in the show notes, and it just gives you a little. It gives you just a little bit of the Kiwi sense of humor. It's a good one. Yeah, and they've got a very good sense of humor. So
that's funny. Yeah,
the whole article is worth reading.
Has he published any other stories?
Yeah, I think he writes a little bit for the stuff.co.nz. It's not a bad little publication. Say little, but that's not really fair. It covers all of New Zealand and all of their regions, and it cuts up all the regions, etc., etc. So it's a pretty good site. It's pretty comprehensive. So awesome. As I say, we'll definitely have it in the show notes. So, but I would say we're probably done on that. Would you say that?
I'd say so.
All right. So maybe what we'll do is a bit of this.
Hey, this is Hannah Melville Ray from the Australia Institute. I'm listening to the new Blurt with Wencee and the Kegsta, and you should be too. It's on Tuesday nights, live from around 8 p.m.
Definitely
Except for tonight, which is a Thursday.
That's true, except for tonight. Normally she's 100% right.
That's why she said normal.
Normally. Nature Calls with Wencee and the Kegsta on the new... Oh, there, big fella. That's the wrong Nature Calling. Oh, right. Here is a new segment, Nature Calls. It's all about a wonderful world. Sorry, Wencee.
It cracks me up every time. Okay. I'm going to have a crack at going first on this one.
Go for it. Go for it.
Excellent. So, look, as you know, we've been having problems with extinction of the species in this country for quite a while. And as you also know, we had a mass extinction of species in the 2020 bushfires.
Yes.
Which is absolutely
very
heartbreaking.
Sad.
It is heartbreaking. But I did find some news that is sort of good, bad.
Okay.
Good in that we can do something about it. Bad in that if we don't, well, we could have more extinction on our hand. But apparently, scientists hope that the government addresses extinction crisis as a new research shows 63 vertebrates face annihilation by 2041. But what they're saying is with limited conservation efforts, so not a lot, not a lot that needs to happen, we could save at least 47 species.
Wow, that's a good ratio.
Well, it is.
60 odd.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you don't have to do that much work to do it, just bloody well do it.
And what does that involve? What's the little effort?
I will definitely let you know. So the Victoria's bawball frog is at high risk of extinction. So what I might do is see if I can show that. So that's a lovely little froggy there.
Oh, so cute.
Very much so. Very much so. So that, is in high risk of extinction. But we need to make this to people's attention because we need to do something about it. So, however, the new research shows a small amount of extra conservation effort could bring it back from the brink. So more than 40 Australian animals at high risk in the next 2 decades could be saved, and it would take only a small amount extra conservation effort. A team of Australian scientists identified, as I said before, 60 vertebrates. I talked about 47. They say the data is alarming, presents the opportunity for the new Albo government to invest in conservation improvements. The 47 animals include 21 fish, 12 birds, 6 mammals, 4 frogs, and 4 reptiles, with 9 of those species estimated to have a greater than 50% risk of extinction in the next 20 years. Wow. So now this mob, the old mob, aren't in. We have no excuses. We should be able to get this done. Among the most desperate are the small fresh fish from the group known as the galaxids, including the stocky galaxids found in the Kosciuszko National Park.
Okay, yeah, nice.
And Victoria's Yami galaxids in the West Gippsland galaxids. These fish live in the headwaters of streams where the main threat to their survival is invasive trout. So I'm making the assumption, trout. Yeah, so I'm making the assumption they need to do something about the trout, I'm assuming, in those areas.
Yeah.
So
introduce species. We'll always do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, we know all about the cane toad, don't we? And prickly pear, and it just goes on and on. Yeah. Other animals considered at high risk include the western ground parrot found in West Australia, the swift parrot, which is under pressure from logging in its habitat range. And we've talked about the bawball frog before. Bawball frog is up near where my dad used to live, up in Drouin, up Warrigal Way, up that way. Mount Bawball is up that way. It's just sort of around the corner from Dad. It's not far at all.
That's one of the closest ski fields to Melbourne, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Mount Bawball is. I think it is,
the closest?
It used to be able to, you probably still can. I don't know if you know, but I think Perisher got 50 centimetres a couple of days ago. Snow, they got dumps because apparently you had a bit of a cold snap.
Cold snap there, yeah. They're going, oh yes, bring on snow because it's going to be a bumper year for the ski season.
Well, yeah, absolutely it will. And it's interesting that you talk about that because same in New Zealand. At the moment, they're just totally keying up for it. They're just getting ready for their influx of people to come in because it's all sort of masky at the moment.
Yeah.
So they're a month or so behind. But 1st of July, all the masks will come off, and I mean, like we had to jump through quite a few hoops to get into the country. You have to do a PCR when you get there. PCR in the next 5 days. Blah blah blah. So a couple of things are a little bit annoying, but nothing too bad. But when people do it, say in 1st of July, they won't need to do anything at all. You will just be able to do the normal as you would before. And they are definitely waiting for a bumper ski season down at Queenstown, Wanaka, and all those lovely areas. So, good luck with that, and good luck with the Aussie ski season as well.
Exactly.
Now, I'll just I'll sort of wind this up a bit because obviously this will be in the show notes anyway. But I just wanted to bring it to people's attention that we can do something about it. So. They're not hugely expensive projects because they're localized. So more than half the habitat of the animals fall within the conservation reserves, and the habitat range for several was small, meaning targeted conservation efforts to address threats such as invasive species, as we just spoke about, were possible. So, he said the picture also likely be worse for invertebrate species, which were often overlooked in conservation planning. So I won't go through any more of this article. It's not a huge article, but I'll let other people read it. But what I will say is just the last part, which is with the recent change of government, perhaps we'll also see a sorely needed change of heart and a far stronger commitment towards ending Australia's extinction crisis.
Yes. As much as I'd like to believe that this new government can do something about that, it also comes down to state government legislation, as we've seen in New South Wales, where the Liberals there have almost decimated all of the koala populations in most of New South Wales. So
that's 100% true. But I think Matt Keane in particular is keen.
Pum,
No
pum.
pun intended. Pun totally intended. To get stuff done on that side. I think I'm absolutely sure. I mean, he is he's a real climate change activist, and he's been on Irrational Fear before. I could say sister podcast, but that wouldn't be fair on them.
Yeah.
But Dan has been on this show before, and we do support many of his efforts. And I suppose while we're talking about that, well done, Dan and Simon Holmes at Court, etc. Very, very well done with the Climate 200 side of things, and very well done, Dan, with the Racely side of things.
Yes.
And the Irrational Fear, the amount of people that you had on Irrational Fear this year.
Yeah, and the coverage that he got across the nation with all the messages of climate change and
absolutely, absolutely. And then those international boards that went into New York and Edinburgh and all around Engadine and all the rest of it. Don't have to think about bloody ScoMo shitting himself again. That'll be good.
Yeah.
I'll be very happy with that.
Don't have to we shouldn't even utter his name anymore.
No.
It's a bit like the 45th president. We just don't mention the name.
No, that's it. Don't mention the war. That's exactly right. But so there is some hope there. And I'm hearing what you're saying, Wencee, but I believe if enough people push enough people, I think we can actually get something done, because there's enough people in Parliament at the moment that would definitely want to do something about it.
Yes, exactly right.
So, but over to you, my friend.
All right. So you've talked about extinctions. I can't even say that word now. In this day and age, we're always worried about all the flora and fauna we're losing around the world. But it's nice to know that there have been quite a number of new discoveries of creatures and fauna just this year alone. So we've got there's two or three that I want to go through just briefly, and let's see if I can share my screen to show you what we're going to talk about. All right, so start off with this one. So the creatures I'm going to talk about, the new discoveries, one of them is called is a millipede, and it's called Nanaria swiftae. Now, this was named after Taylor Swift, a very famous singer, country singer, now pop singer. Now, if I can find my tab, it would be great.
So my question is, if it gets on you, do you have to shake it off?
Oh, absolutely. You had it ready. Awesome. So you can see it there?
No, can't see anything.
Can you see that?
No, but if I do this, we might be able to.
Of course, if I add it. How long have I been running this show?
Well, according to this, 81 episodes.
80-ish. Jeez. Will I ever learn? So this is the millipede, found in many parts of America. This one was in Tennessee, which I believe is where Tay is from.
So this is a brand new one, yeah?
Yeah, so it's a new species, or it's a new genus. So
I've got to tell you, I mean, we get some millipedes up where we are in Faraday, up in the country, and they are horrible.
Are they?
But that is quite cute.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's quite nice. It's quite nice.
So there've been studies over the years. They've obviously, it's probably taken a few years to identify it and make sure it was unique. And then this year it's been announced that, this is a new species. Yeah. The other one that I want to look at is the tapir frog.
Oh, does it look like a pig or something?
Did that change? No.
Nope.
Did it? No. I was hoping it was
That's Gonski. Gonski, but that's okay. I'm sure you'll bring it back.
Oh well. Here it comes.
So people on the pod, there's particular pictures that Wencee's showing at the moment. and they will be available in the show notes if you want to have a look.
Yes.
They're very cool, so I recommend.
They are
you
very
do.
cool.
Oh my goodness gracious!
So-
What's that called?
So this one is a tapir frog from Peru. It's called Synapturanus danta.
Oh my god!
It's affectionately called or known as the chocolate frog by the Harry Potter fans on social media.
I would have thought so. Yeah.
If anyone's seen that movie, there's chocolate frogs that come alive as you try to eat it.
Don't tell me it's these ones.
That's probably where they got inspired from, perhaps. I don't know.
Wow. Is it dangerous or just dangerously to? Oh no, sorry, I apologize.
It's dangerously cute.
Well, it is dangerously cute. And you're saying it's just been found, like this is just they've never heard of it before, yeah? Yeah,
they've never seen this genus, I think is what they call it. So it's a subspecies, or
how did they come across it? Like what happened?
Good question. It's just researchers. Obviously, around the world, there's lots of areas where creatures and fauna haven't been discovered to its full extent in those regions, and as they discover new things, obviously they've got to take a while to capture them, compare them with other creatures of the same variety. So obviously they still find a few every now and then, but yeah, this one's obviously one of those ones. So
well, that is exceedingly cute, no doubt about it.
Yes. The next one is, I'm going to have to remove that and share my next screen, which is this one. This one is a fauna. So this is a tree in Cameroon in the Igbo forest.
Oh, my goodness me.
So this is in the tropical tree in the Ylang Ylang forest. This species was the first addition to the 2022 new species list by the scientists at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Kew, which is they're from England, obviously.
Kew in England, yeah.
Kew in England,
yeah,
correct.
Kew, yeah. I've been there.
Oh, have you? Awesome.
Yeah, it's very, very good. You'd love it. Oh,
yeah.
Amazing.
They worked with the National Herbarium of Cameroon. It's 4 meters tall with bunches of large and glossy yellow-green flowers on the trunk.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so it's quite pretty. So
yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, so I don't know how
that's South America, yeah. South America.
No, Cameroon in Africa.
Oh, Cameroon. Sorry,
Cameroon.
Yeah, or even Cameroon. Yeah.
So this one is actually called a Uvariopsis DiCaprio. It was named after Leonardo DiCaprio, the American actor, and it was named in his honor because he is an environmentalist and he's uses social media a lot to highlight all these issues. And so February 2020, he called out on social media to stop logging concessions in this forest to be revoked. So he wanted no more deforestation.
How did that go down?
That I don't know. No idea. Yeah. I'll DM DiCaprio after this show.
I think you should. I think you should. I was thinking, we probably should follow him from that perspective. I'm wondering if he has a Twitter handle that is more environmental handle rather than any other sort of handle.
I
think it'd be worth our while just to see. I know Matt Damon is a big
conservationist.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah,
very much so.
Yeah, a lot of those. It's good to see those people who are famous and got the money to go out and do things like this and highlight all these issues. So,
no, it is good. It is very, very good.
Yeah, so they're just 3 of the ones. There's plenty of others. There was a spider, which I'm not going to talk about because I hate tarantulas.
No, I know you love spiders so much. You live in Queensland, but you love spiders. I get it. Yeah.
What do you mean I like spiders? What you talking about, Willis? There were fish and plenty of others. So it'll be in the show notes. Have a read. So good to see that there are new discoveries despite the sad news we get every so often.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's, I mean, my article on the extinction is a message of hope, not a message of depression. We can do something. We need to do something, and it's not all lost. And we need to just get off our ass and save these buggers, basically.
Exactly right.
But someone else who needs to be saved, and they should be definitely supported, and we support them on this show.
The Australia Institute produces high-quality research that has real-world impact, whether it's revealing the $10.3 billion in fossil fuel subsidies provided by federal and state governments last year, or our long-standing research advocating for a federal anti-corruption commission with real teeth. We change minds. To donate, head on over to australiainstitute.org.au.
Sorry, for those listening, I'll say it after.
I like Chinese. There's 900 million of them in the world today. Walking on the
So you are on Chinese takeaway, which is we take away something from China.
Yes.
Absolutely. We take away something from China, and it's usually something to do with their culture or their food. It could be history. It could be anything. And more than happy if you want to take it away, as it were. Wencee.
Okay. I'm going to talk about something that the Chinese wants to ban, a maths book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So this, let me go here. So this maths book has got some rather pornographic images, illustrations.
Oh, what were you researching to come up with this? Seriously.
You do not want to know the Google search I came up with for this.
You're going to get people knocking on your door, my friend. Seriously.
Knocking? Really? Okay. Yep, yeah. Knocking. All right. Yes. So this is a state-owned Chinese publishing company, and obviously there are some pictures there with a boy who is a little bit happy feeding the chickens.
Yes, he looks a little bit happy.
There's boys lifting up girls' skirts.
That's not good.
Not good at all. This one apparently is because the boy or the child is wearing a star-spangled shirt, so it could be American.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah,
could be
got
USA.
It. I wouldn't like that.
This middle one, another boy who's excited, and I don't know what's wrong with the girl.
Going on.
This is a maths book, mind you, so I'd love to know the context of how these images relate to maths.
I don't understand
this
at all.
This one of the Chinese flag I can understand, because the stars do not go underneath the main yellow star on the flag. It goes on the side. I can't remember which side.
Who wrote this math book?
It's a Chinese owned, or it's a government-owned publishing company. So, yeah.
Where did you find the article?
Oh, I just Googled it. You don't want to know what else I Googled before it. But...
definitely don't want to know how you found this article. This looks more Japanese than Chinese. Like
it does a bit, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of sexy anime Japanese stuff they do. This is weird, man.
Yeah, so
it's very weird.
So yes, I am glad for banning that textbook, but how it actually got used in the first place,
you're not exactly sure.
Not sure, mate.
No. Are you able to share the links in the show notes? Or?
Oh, for sure, absolutely. It's just it's just from our trusty friends at the news.com.au website.
Okay, fantastic.
I thought that was a bit hilarious.
Now I realise why you didn't want to tell me where you went. The other thing was, because you're not allowed to swear on the show so much nowadays. But no, the other thing was, so if people want to have a look at that article, you can. just warning. Nothing pornographic.
No,
but it is a little
there's
bit.
nothing there. It's
just
very
a little
tame, but
Yeah, it is
it's just-
tame, but it's just a little bit off.
yeah,
It's not quite on.
bit NQR, not quite right.
Yes.
Shouldn't have been published in the first place.
Yeah, it's a bit far north Queensland. That's true. No, it is very much so. Yeah. I can't believe that's a math book. It's still freaking me out.
That's the concept I can't get over yet, is how those images relate to maths.
I don't even want to go there. I'm not making any jokes.
Yep, same. I'm not gonna.
Nah, I don't know where that's going. But anyway,
next,
that's very
your turn.
interesting.
I'm
going to read that article. I'm interested. That's weird. That's really weird. Yeah, no. So this comes straight from the New York Times, and the reason is because 4 years ago, many young Chinese like to use the hashtag #AmazingChina, but 2 years ago they said that China was the A student in pandemic control, and urged the rest of the world, especially the United States, to copy China's homework. I always find this a little bit ironic, or there's other words I'm trying to find, but at the moment I can't find them. Any way you slice it, it did actually start in China. So having a crack at anyone else to how they dealt with a virus that actually its inception is in your country, I don't think you really have the right to do.
Exactly.
But anyway, that's just my 20 cents worth, which probably isn't worth 20 cents anymore because with inflation, etc., and probably more like 17. Anyway, now many people believe that the most unlucky generation since the 1980s, as Beijing's persistent pursuit of the zero COVID policy. Yes, so there's still in 2022, still trying to get the pursuit of zero COVID. They've got 1.4 billion people in this country. Everyone else has had people die. Everyone else has got people getting COVID. America just had the celebration of 1 million deaths.
Yeah, a few weeks ago.
Which is probably more than that, to be honest. But,
Shanghai
anyway.
just got released from quarantine.
Absolutely. So jobs are hard to find. Frequent COVID testing dictates their life. The government is imposing more and more restrictions on the individual liberty while pushing them to get married and have more children. So there's a lot of Chinese students and Chinese younger people that are rebelling against the government for one of the longest times. It sort of hasn't happened. I mean, they've been rebelling in Taiwan and Hong Kong and all the places that aren't really Chinese, but China wants them to be because they have a democratic sort of premise. But not in their home state, as it were. So I can't stand the thought that I will have to die in this place, said Cheng Yin-yu, a 19-year-old writer in southwestern Chinese city of Chengdu, who is thinking of migrating to foreign countries because the government's iron fist falls on her. She can't imagine having children in China either.
Wow.
It's.
I wonder why that is. Is that because of the health system, or?
Yeah, well, there's a bit here directly is I don't dare have them because I won't be able to protect them. She said, citing concerns like pandemic control workers breaking into apartments to spray disinfectant that kills pets. Wow. And requiring residents to leave the keys in their apartment door locks. Wow. So, it's pretty terrible stuff. It's really, really
you got to love the people, the Victorians who protested, calling Dan Andrews Dictator Dan for what he did. So these people got no idea. But anyway.
No, they don't have a clue. They do not have a clue. But we're nearly at show's end, so I will just sort of wind up the article a bit. And if this is a public article, you should be able to read it, I believe. I think with the New York Times, as you said, I think you get like 4 or 6 a month or something for free. So you should be able to read this. It should be okay.
If not, subscribe to their cheap yearly plan at the moment. Super, super cheap.
Yeah, absolutely. New York Times, I totally recommend it. I've been subscribed for a while now. It's pretty good to see what's happening in the other side of the world, written by the other people on the other side of the world, rather than coming from our side for a change. So, and there's a lot of international news in there as well. It's a pretty good paper. And as Wencee so rightly said, at the moment it is 50 cents US a week. So that works out to be, I think, what, $24 a year or something.
I think there's a 20 Aussie dollar yearly plan that actually converts it for you.
Oh,
that's super
wow.
cheap. That's even cheaper.
That's uber cheap. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think if you've never subscribed before, it's Wencee so rightly said, $20 for the year, which is ridiculous. I mean, I subscribe to The Guardian and I think something else, but I can't remember. And that costs
nowhere near that cheap.
No, they're $11 $11 a month.
A month?
I think they're $11 a month. I think that's about right. So so that's 3 times cheaper.
Yes.
Or actually a lot more than that. It's 5 times cheaper. Yeah, 5 times cheaper. So highly recommend that. Highly recommend it. Anyway, it's impossible to measure how many young Chinese have become disillusioned by the government's iron fist in the latest lockdowns. Beijing has complete control over the propaganda outlets, internet, the textbooks, the schools. Obviously not that textbook that you spoke about. The schools and nearly every aspect that could touch brainwaves of the Chinese public. When you find that as an individual, you have zero ability to fight back the state apparatus. Your only way is out. Said Miss Wang, the young professional in Shanghai. So yes, not all is beer and Skittles in China at the moment.
No, and you can't protest there, can you? To make change either.
Yeah,
the crackdown was so hard on the protesters.
Yeah, well, it's a bit like Queensland in the 80s. You couldn't protest when Bjelke Petersen was premier.
True.
They used to lock them up as well.
Yeah, wow.
So, but anyway, that's your lot, people, tonight.
Yeah. That was a good show. I hope everyone enjoyed it. And before we go, we want to remind everyone that you and I are doing this push-up challenge for the month of June.
Yes, that is very, very true. And the links should be in the show notes, correct?
Correct. We'll put them in there.
Excellent. So, we will do that. The push-up challenge, as Wencee has just alluded to, is about doing 3,189 push-ups, if you can, in 24 days, which is pretty tough. I think it averages out, 130 something a day or whatever, which is quite a few. And I started yesterday, and I'm sure you started yesterday.
I did. Don't ask me if I did any today, because I went into the office today and I just didn't feel like doing push-ups in front of everyone when I'm so bad at it. Because I always start bad. By the end of the month, I'm better at it. But yes, at the beginning, it's embarrassing. So I'd rather do it in private.
Okay. I pulled out my push-up bars at the Christchurch airport and just did some because I had to get them in. I got to do 130 today, and I've still got I think I've still got 50 to do or 40 to do or something.
Yeah, because every day it's different number. So yesterday was 74.
Yeah.
Today is 150.
157 tomorrow.
Great. So I've got a lot of catching up to do. So I'll do some after the show. I won't get to 130 odd. So I'll have to do more later.
Yes. No, I will get my 40 done before I go to bed. But last time I did it last year, I had to go to the physio every couple of weeks.
Did you?
Yeah, I was in so much pain. My shoulders were so sore.
Oh, wow.
Because, when you end up doing around about 100 or so every day, you do feel it. You definitely feel it. So
I just break it up during the day. Lots of 20, lots of 30 at a go.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't do them all at once. No way. I'm not that good.
No. But the thing is, after you've been doing that for a week, you'll feel it.
Yeah.
If you're not used to doing it, you'll feel it.
Oh, I'm feeling it already, and that's after day one. I can't
Anyway,
wait till my till the rest day, which is
it's
3 or 4 days away.
Yeah, Sunday's the rest day. It's for a good cause. It's for
Yeah, it is.
Lifeline, so we'll definitely put the links in the show notes.
Yeah.
And donate whatever you can.
Yeah.
Every little bit helps.
Yeah.
It's for a really, really good cause. I raised about $700 last year, so it'd be good if I could get anything near that this year. Would be nice. Just just want to help and raise money and raise awareness of mental health issues.
Exactly.
In this country.
Talk to your friends, talk to family.
Absolutely.
If you've got no one to talk to, there's services like Lifeline and others. So yeah, don't be afraid.
Absolutely. And the other thing as well is if you actually do go to the Push Up for Better website that we will put in the show notes, it's actually got lots of sort of resources and information regarding that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, next week, people, with a bit of luck, it won't be next week. I thought it'd be next week, but it won't be next week.
A couple of weeks.
Yeah, a couple of weeks. In a couple of weeks' time, we've got a representative from Good Edie coming on. Good Edie is a company that does edible keep cups. So if you're interested in winning some edible keep cups, listen to the potty. We will have a question on next week's show for what if you can answer first and send it to blurtstar@gmail.com and or Twitter, but blurtstar@gmail.com is probably the best thing to do. Which is just blurtstar@gmail.com. And just, give us whatever the answer is, because we haven't worked out the question yet. So we'll get that done and we'll be good to go. And you could win some edible keep cups. And there's some strawberry flavored ones and chocolate flavored ones. So they're meant to be very good, and there won't be many other people that have tasted them. So you will be very much a beta taster and user of the product. So listen to that in a couple of weeks' time. It should be really interesting. They're doing some really good stuff in this space. So they should be good to talk to. And then I think the week after that, with a bit of luck, we've got Maria de Flaga. We should have a recorded interview with her to be able to present on the 21st of June, I believe. Yeah. We're going to try to do that during the day. Maria de Flaga, if you don't know, is a stalwart on the Democracy Sausage podcast. But far more than that, she is a director of policy for the Australian National University. She's got really good expertise in Indigenous affairs, politics, general sort of politics, and different specified policy areas as well. She's far too good for this show, but it'd be great to get her on. So, but we've had some crackers in the past.
We have.
That we're learning from. So she will be an absolute asset to this program to get her on. So yes, so I've had a good chat with her. She's been fantastic, and we should be able to organise, as I said to you, a recorded one that we could play as we did Nicole. Which begs the question: is Nicole coming up anytime soon?
Sometime in the very near future. She said she will be happy to come back on. So. Okay, cool. Just got to get the timing right and make sure that she's available. But yes, she's definitely back on at some point.
Excellent. I've been in touch with SBS. I'm trying to get representatives for NITV.
Awesome.
They've given me contacts for that, so I need to follow that up as well. So yeah, we've got lots of things happening in the next few months. There's lots of other sort of guests that are in the been in the wings for a while, so we need to follow those up as well. I know Wencee. We've talked about having a Green candidate. You were going to follow that up. And now that they're going to be in Parliament, it'll be more poignant and important than ever that we get that done.
Yes, rather than the candidate, she is now an MP. So I'm hoping we'll get Libby on the show at some point.
Oh, Lydia Thorpe?
No, Libby. Libby Watson-Brown, our MP for Ryan up here.
Oh, fantastic.
In my seat, yeah.
Magnificent. So is there anything else you want to say about Reconciliation Week before we sign off?
No, good. I'll in the show notes. I'll have some links. There's plenty of activities that have been created to celebrate, and also things that you can do to make change, and not to focus just on this week, but every day and every other week of the year, so that we're all inclusive and mindful of what they've gone through. So yeah, so put that in the show notes. But yeah, let's do more.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, make sure you do definitely get those links in the show notes. Potty will be out probably, good luck, should be out next Tuesday. Next
Monday. Monday.
Yep, absolutely. And we will get that also into Twitter streams and Instagram and all the rest of it. So with that, it's good night for me.
And it's good night for me. Adios.
Later, people.
Bye.